But someone is coming. Countless different versions of a very dangerous person, and they're all set on war.
Kang is coming, and he's bringing the pain. But what exactly is it that Kang is capable of? So very much. There aren't many things that can frighten Loki, the god of mischief.
I have to get off this planet.
Hey, where are you going?
He is a god, after all, even if some consider him a puny god.
I beg your pardon.
Dark Elves, his brother, Thanos, all of them, Loki felt like not only would he survive the encounter, there was a bit of an angle in there for him to come out of it with something he wanted. But when he met He Who Remains, he found someone even more disturbing than him, something that scared him. So what is it that Loki is so afraid of?
He's terrifying. He planned everything. He's seen everything. He knows everything. It's complicated.
What makes Kang the Conqueror? Let's get into it.
Happy reading.
Time skipping can really throw off your continuity when it comes to figuring out how old you are.
Time travel!
With a time machine, you can visit every one of your birthdays in succession, all while only working through a few hours of actual existence.
For me, it was 5 hours.
Regardless of the ability to live in next Tuesday or last year, if you want to do some conquering, you'll need time to conquer. This is an ability that Kang comes by naturally.
I know it all. And I've seen it all.
In the time he's from, lifespans are longer, so even though he's pushing 70s, he's got the body of a man in his 30s. While it's not technically immortality, with his longer lifespan and cross-time doppelgangers, it can seem to the conquered that he's not only immortal, but everywhere. When you want to play with the big boys, you're going to have to pack a powerful swing. You don't need to match the Hulk with his ability to lift over 100 tons, a number that's way over if he's angry. And
I'm always angry.
for those who aren't born with the strength like the Asgardians, or granted strength through chemistry like Captain America or the Hulk, then you have two choices. One is get really good at jumping up on people's shoulders and bringing them down Black Widow style, or get yourself one of those power suits. With literal centuries to study, Kang has looked at the best options and he went with power suit. No need to go all Hulkbuster though, keep things simple. Kang's suit allows Kang to lift up to 5 tons, which may not sound like a lot, but you know, how many tons can you lift? One of the reasons that Kang can be happy with a 5-ton deadlift from his power suit is because there's more than one way to move heavy things without all that pesky effort. Worked into his gauntlets is an anti-gravity device that can turn up to 2.2 tons into nothing at all. The bonus, of course, is that instead of just brute forcing something, the weightless object can be manipulated by anyone like a toy floating in a pool. And of course, he can turn it off and bring it down like it was 2 tons of bricks, especially if it's actually 2 tons of bricks. Conquering is a tough business, mostly because by its very nature, the people being conquered are largely against it. Otherwise, it'd just be called taking over or something like that. That whole not wanting to be conquered can lead to them doing inconvenient things like fighting back. Now, sure, you have the benefit of all time and your genius tactical brain, but the good guys have this pesky habit of saving the day. Them saving the day can really ruin yours and leave you in a tight spot survival-wise. That's where a top-notch life support system can give you time to reflect on your mistakes and figure out what the next move will be while you're left drifting through space or sifting through that land you just made uninhabitable with your doomsday device. Kang, being a conqueror by nature, he plans for big-time problems, mostly because he caused them. So his suit can support him for 30 days, giving him plenty of time to figure out where things went wrong. There's always that one guy on the team of superheroes, usually the big one, the one that solves most of the problems by clobbering or smashing, you know the type. There isn't a problem that they can't bear hug into submission. Does it ever work? Not that often, no, but they gotta try. Often. Kang has a built-in don't touch me device that every 8-year-old who has to hug one too many ants during Christmas would want. With a flex of his muscles, his entire suit will electrify, sending an electro shock into the one doing the bear hugging, or shoulder sitting, or whatever else the superheroes try to do to foil Kang's evil plans.
Don't you wonder how I'm able to get out of the way just before you kill me?
And Kang has some spectacularly evil plans. No matter how complex or evil your evil plan is, someone is going to crack it and then they're going to want to have a discussion about it. A discussion with fists and lasers and whatever else the heroes can throw at you. When it comes time, you're going to want some blasty stuff of your own. In this case, Kang keeps it simple. And of course, he wants to do it in the way that lets you know how little you actually mean to him in the process. Kang's power suit can generate concussive blasts like thousands of pounds of dynamite. Because when you're as bad a guy as Kang, you're going to annoy some power players and you don't want to come up short. For that extra level of flair, these building level concussive blasts come out of his fingertips. That way you can casually point at the thing you want to not exist anymore. There's always that time when you find that you're out and about and you find that you have just the tool for the job back at home. It's so frustrating after spending so much time on planning out the load of the adventure. Where's a bag of holding when you need one? Like every problem Kang solves, he does it with the kind of flair that lets you know how little you mean to him and his conquest. When Kang needs that special weapon that will do the job that any of the other weapons or gadgets or his power armor can't handle, he just cracks his knuckles. For bonus points, he isn't just pulling a select set of weapons from his secret stash. This is Kang the Conqueror we're talking about here. He has all of time and space at his disposal, so when he makes that crack, he can pull the weapons from the time stream. I think a knuckle crack is better than a snap, don't you? Your run-of-the-mill weapons can have run-of-the-mill names because they do run-of-the-mill things.
Want to use a big wooden fork?
The weapons that really bring the pain, or at the very least are unique in their operation, well, those kinds of gadgets require a really cool name. Something like the Light of the Centuries Sphere? I mean, that sounds pretty cool. It's got the Light of the Centuries. All of them, presumably. Just what is it you do with the Light of the Centuries Sphere exactly? Well, he's only used it a couple of times, but when he has, it's proven pretty powerful. He used it to bring the Avengers forward in time to his home turf in 4000 AD. Once there, he also used it to hold Tony Stark prisoner. If that doesn't make it sound cool enough, Kang at some point figured out that if he was going to succeed, he'd have to get rid of the Hulk. A lot of people tend to think that. He didn't plan on using the sphere directly, but rather a time storm, because why not? But as destructive as the time storm was, the sphere remained, because it has a cool name. Cool names make all the difference. One of the things that makes Ultron such a formidable foe for the Avengers is that you're never really killing Ultron. You're just destroying the last thing that he put his latest program in. Unlike you and me who forget to save projects all the time, you do that too, right? It's not just me losing hours of work to the spinning beach ball of death, right? Tell me I'm not alone, please. Ultron saves constantly and even creates a backup so you're never really rid of him. Well, Kang wanted in on that sweet resurrection action, so he rigged it. His helmet was rigged to transfer his consciousness to another host in the event of his death. How did he pull it off? How else? Nanotechnology. If it's small, it can do anything. All the gear in the world and all the gear in time and space and everything, all of that isn't any good in the hands of someone who has no idea how to use it or what the best way to go about using it would be. Fortunately for Kang, and unfortunately for basically anyone not Kang, Kang has a big old time brain. He started off no slouch in the figuring department, even for his time thousands of years into the future. Then he used that big brain to grab a time machine. With all of time and space at his disposal, he was able to learn the best tactics and the best tech and how to combine the two. He's a tactical and a fighting genius. In the Marvel Universe, genius gets you far. Just don't experiment on yourself. That never goes well. All of this stems from the really big power, the backbone that Kang builds his various empires on, his command of time and space. Rather than using that access to fly around in a blue box trying to impress people who just go through time the normal way with how smart he is, he uses it to acquire all the tools he needs to conquer land up and down the timeline, from ancient Egypt to the far-flung future. He's so into conquering, he's used his access to time and space to conquer all the other Kangs in all the other timelines. And that's why they call him the Conqueror. One power that Kang doesn't have is a fashion sense. Green and purple is a rough combination. It's the kind of thing that a colorblind person would come up with. It's kind of like when your friends have a slightly off Christmas party. Don't tell them I said that, please.